Hello and welcome to the weekly warm down. I am your host, the Abra Melon, and here with us today we have Joe Sketch and Why Not Be Reckless. Today we're going to be discussing what's happened in the Halo 5 Pro series and also as well some announcements that were brought up earlier this week. So it's been a very exciting week this time around for European Halo. We had the same outcome, but with a little bit more difference, and I'm looking forward to hearing what these details are. So first off, we'll go in the order of Europe, and then we'll go into North America. We'll then go into a bit of Latin America, and then we'll summarize at the end with some ANZ. So first off, Joe, what happened last weekend, and what are your thoughts to how the competition went?
Oh, wasn't it absolute cracker, Matt? Again, nice to be back, everybody. Hello, nice to see you as well, Tony. This weekend, we had a bit of a switch up of the top two. A new team coming into that second place spot being Creganna Vaccine. We'll talk about that a bit more, but let's just list off our top 8. So Interference we saw on stream again, Fireboy, Icon, Boca, Elite Vortex now going by Gion. They had another top eight placement. Joined them was Only Goat, Stractic, Cali, Rudimentary, and Sanart. And Rudimentary's one of these players who's been around a lot beforehand. He just came back as far as I know. I've seen him a few times every now and again. I've seen him in some esports arena tournaments, so he's a very good player. Cali, one of our former good French players on Pulse Gaming at one point, on Beat Genius way back in the day. So he's been around. Our top 6, 56, Brexit Appeal, Cruise, Sunrise, Luckless, and Kami, or Kamikaze. But also in that 5th, 6th spot, Poker Stars. That's Warlord, Squashy, Looney, and Marine. So Marine placed top 4 of Raw Marines last time out. That team has completely been split apart. And Squashy, Warlord, and Looney, those some names have been around for a very, very long time. Obviously, our Mocket boys. And this team has been like top 4, top 3 in multiple different tournaments, but only a top 6 placement this time out. So a bit of an underperformance from their side of things. And the team which beat them in that 4th spot, 2021 H5. That's Mr. Sparky, Precisionite, and Lunny. So Lunny coming back into our squad, into our tournament as well. But we're good. So we'll do a top 3 now, and EGIF, England, Germany, Italy, France, Mo, Sniper, and Akimbo placing top 3 SOG also on that squad, and they're beaten out by Creganna Vaccine. That's Outcast, Tommy McCrogan, Speed, and Crossman. So if anybody saw our stream on Saturday, Creganna Vaccine beat EGIF twice. They beat EGIF in the winners' semis 3-1, and then into the losers' finals 3-2. Credible scenes, and it could have gone either way in a multiple ones of those gameplays. But Cartal, once again, taking all the spoils here. That's Jimbo, Shady, Legend, and Seeker. They won 3 in the final against Creganna Vaccine pretty convincingly, but also a massive shout out to Creganna Vaccine for taking that 2nd place spot. I don't know what you saw of that, Tony, but one thing we spoke about last week was Looney was going to come in as the replacement for Batchford on this Creganna Vaccine squad, but they kept Outcast. So we talked about it. We talked about keeping that sub in play as Outcast had a really good performance, and because of that, they placed top 2. So realistically, what we talked about beforehand came to fruition. Do you think, though, Creganna Vaccine can build from this, Tony? Do you think that they can actually cement this top 2 squad? I mean, Cartel are quite a while away, but I feel like EGIF will probably have a bit of things to say come Saturday. So what do you think Creganna Vaccine can do to maintain their top 2 spot?
I mean, yeah, they got 2nd place twice in a row now, so I think got to keep the ball rolling. You got to keep going to the drawing board, keep working it together. Because I mean, it's tough. Somebody Outcast stepped in and he went off. And now I want to see them take that next level. Maybe take Cartel to a game 5. You don't got to beat them to be successful. Take them to a game 5.
Yeah, so they actually did take them to a game 5, but it was 2 lag outs. So it was a 3-0 in the winners' finals. That was Creganna Vaccine's first top 2. They placed top 3 last time, but they had a really good showing then. In terms of around the EU scene, I want to talk a bit about this PokerStars squad. I briefly mentioned it when we were going over this recap as well. So this squad of Looney, who was going to replace Outcast on Creganna Vaccine, also Also squashing Warlord. So basically most of Mocket from the last season, only placing top 6 this time around, though, Tony. Whereas we've normally seen them in top 4, top 3. Do you think it was a bit of an off time? Do you think they need a bit more play together? I don't know how long Marine's been on this squad, but that is a core 3. And even though they didn't compete in the first one of our Open Cup, they still have been around for a very, very long time. It's not like they've quit and came back in the last 2 months or whatever. They've been consistently playing, even if it hasn't been at a team level. So what realistically do you want to see Mocket now PokerStars do? Do you want they keep their core 4 roster, or what do you think they could do to maintain and push up into that top 4, top 3 spot?
In my opinion, in the age of online cups, the first one, we'll give you that. We'll throw it away. Hey, this is the first time we put together. You can't expect instant success once you're putting a squad together. However, by that second go around, like at that point, now we have expectations. Now we want to see more from you. So I want to see them elevate their game. I want to see them working together, maybe doing some scrims and ultimately elevating their game. We always talk about in the boxing of the UFC world, losing once, people are like, oh, that was just luck. When you lose twice, at that point, you really have to earn a new title shot. Like you don't get those shots much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from my point of view, as well, it's one of those things where these players have all been they have been competing as a 3 for so long. You talk about some duos in the scene, and Squashy and Looney. I mean, Warlord's been in and out, but Squashy and Looney have been playing together. I mean, they were playing on Mocket back when we were doing international tournaments and the NA side of things, going through the open bracket. So they're players which have been around for a long time. And again, one of the ones I want to see is this squad, a core 3 almost. And I assume this is what they want to do, is stick together going into Infinite, because they've proven they can compete. They clearly get along very well. They wouldn't have teamed together for that long if they don't get along for that well. So that's a squad which is one I'm going to want to look for, especially now they're coming back. If they can keep consistent, I know they occasionally have time off and come back into it, but if they can continue playing from now until Infinite, that's a squad which I really want to see. And one of the squads probably could place top 4, but I don't want to discredit 2021 H5. And I mean, boys, you need to change your name. It's so tricky to say 2021 H5 or 2021 on the stream when you've got all these other numbers going on, Oh, 2021 or 23, 20 up. You suddenly you're listing off 20s all over the place. For 2021 H5, I'll just go over squads again, that being Mr. Precisionite, Lunny, and Sparky. So we saw Sparky season Open 1 a couple of weeks ago now on the In Control squad. So he's picked up with Mr. Precisionite and Lunny. And Lunny is another one of our pro players who's been around for a very, very long time. So he's a player who's been on old Vexed team back in the start of H5. He's always been one of these top 3 teams, top 2 teams. So it's nice to see him slot in, and they beat out PokerStars. So realistically, this squad is a H5 squad. Precisionite and Mr. are like the deadly duo. Whenever these two come together, and it's always, they might split up for a couple of weeks, but they'll always reform again, and they just know how each other works. So it's really nice to see them playing together once again. And again, that duo, I'm not too sure if this whole 4 is going to stick together, what the synergy is there. But that duo definitely is one again for Infinite, which is one we want to look out for. If anything, I remember a poll back in the day, and this poll was the players to look out for in Europe for Halo Infinite. Precisionite, Mr. and Tommy McCrogan were all up there. I mean, Legend was up there, but we now know how good he is as well. But all these players were the top players to look out for them, and it's nice to see them all still playing, competing during our Open Series or Pro Series at the moment. The last thing I want to speak about is this EGIF team, EGIF's team. They placed second last time quite convincingly. Now they fall to Kragana Vaccine, and they didn't just fall once. It wasn't just one loss. It was back-to-back losses against Kragana Vaccine. So that squad, Mo, Snipe Drone, Kimbo, and SLG, is one of the, I mean, if you talk about well-known EU Halo players, these players are probably more well-known than our Cartel roster, especially among the older crowd, because they have been around for so long. So what can EGIF really do, again, to bounce back? Is this a bit of a blip? Do you think Kragana Vaccine, they played really, really well, but EGIF just weren't well practiced? Or what do you think EGIF's role forward is? Going into Infinite, into our later Pro Series, Tony?
Well, going into a new game like Infinite, because obviously these tournaments are little battles. The Ultimate War is Infinite, so going into a new game, you already have to learn so much with the game. The last thing I want to do is introduce new pieces to my team where I don't know how to effectively communicate with them as well as I would want to. Like, for example, if I'm going to a new game, I know how teammate A and teammate B, how I want to communicate with B versus A. We know what we want to accomplish. At the end of the day, maybe a new game, but we know we want to hold this, this perimeter and this mid. We want to accomplish this. We prioritize this versus that. When you have a team that sticks together, you know what you guys want to accomplish. So I say you stick it out, stick together, go into Infinite. Because again, these are little battles. The Ultimate War is Infinite, and let me tell you, it weighs a whole. I love the Pro Series and whatnot, and I've been working with them, and it's great. But Infinite has way much more weight to it than what these little battles are. Year 6 or 7, I don't even know where we're at, of Halo 5. So stick it out, guys, and go into Infinite with your heads high.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, closing points from the European side of things, there are some absolutely cracking games. If you haven't watched our broadcast, if you're tuning into this podcast and haven't seen all the action from the weekend, I mean, Craiganna Vaccine and EGIF in that losers finals went to game 5. We had a 50-49 earlier on, PokerStars versus 2021 H5. That went to game 5 as well. Cartel won in usual Frio fashion. We all knew that. Going into the tournament, and they just proved us all right. So Cartel, again, summary: Cartel unbeatable. Frio, they look absolutely incredible. I hope they can maintain that level going into Infinite, so we can all prove Tony wrong when Cartel go into grand finals in an international stage, and he's not talking about them being beaten by open bracket Halo NA Halo teams. But yeah, so that's my ending closings from European Halo. I'll pass it back to you, Matt, on the desk there.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And that's great. Last weekend was so much fun to watch. The broadcast last week was just phenomenal. It's really interesting now that we're now kind of a bit of a broadcast change for Europa Halo, where you're actually showcasing more of those lower bracket matches. So it's just quite refreshing, where we don't see those steamrolled 3-0s. So it's majority of games did go past game 3, so it was just brilliant to see. So Europe is done. Tony, what is going on in the NA region? Let's hear your update.
Yeah, I need to get me on those broadcasts. I do a little bit casting myself. I just let you know. I want to get me behind the desk. We get the hype. Sorry, excuse me. Good evening, everybody. This is Why Not Be Reckless, AK Why Not Be Casting, AK I'm kind of a freaking big deal. If you don't know, now you know. And I'll be bringing you guys all the HCS Pro Series 5K action from the North American side of things. 16 teams enter the arena, and 8 of them emerge, earning a bit of prize money, along with holding their pro status going into the 5K. Now, mind you guys, going into this 5K, there's only one more 5K left, and then we have the last championship. So this is where things start to matter. We're talking about seeding here. And we're always not even talking about, forget the little money that you make in top 8. It's really about that seeding, because the big money's over toward the top 2. To be honest, that big money toward the top 2. But anybody who made the top 8 also won't have to participate in this weekend's Open. So we already know what the top 8 are. Everybody competes in this weekend's Open will determine the 9 through 16 seeds that will join them going into the 5K. So it's really good to hold on to a top 8 placing, because you won't have to compete within this. What's the cesspool that is the Open bracket. Let me tell you, it gets crazy down there. We have teams like Golden Dawn who didn't make top 8, which that was a highly sought after team. So, I wouldn't want to compete in the Open. Hold on to your top 8 placing. And somebody who did do that is going to be first place, Cloud9, winning their very first Pro Series 5K event, and man, was it a tough one. Due to the double elimination bracket formula, they actually had to run into Sentinels, Inconceivable, and KCP along their journey to greatness. This team was putting in that work, and man, did it pay off. We were talking about double elimination last week, guys, and in single elimination, they would usually meet 2 out of the 3 other best teams, but never did they meet all 3 of them in the same tournament. This time they had to go through all 3, and clearly they showed they were the best, at least last Saturday they did. coming in second place is going to be inconceivable, despite having the advantage going into the grand finals, having to only win one series. They still got 3-0 in the first, and then got 3-1 after it. They won the last Pro Series tournament, so they were heavy favorites going into this one. I don't know what happened. I mean, I need to know, are they going to put in that extra work in time for the next 5K? And that's why I want to bring you in, Sketch, if you don't mind. Like, Cloud9 beating out Inconceivable in 2 best-of-5 series and decisively. Inconceivable won 1 game, Sketch. What did that tell you? Did you watch it?
So I've only caught the highlights, obviously, and I want to I absolutely love a bit of NA Halo action. For me, Cloud9, you've got to think, as you said, the gauntlet they got placed through, Sentinels, Inconceivable twice, KCP. A lot of that is going to just prove it. I mean, it proves 2 things. It proves that they have a real deal. They have not just the momentum, but they have the know-how and skill to beat out some of these best players twice. But Inconceivable is a squad which has been around in some iterations multiple times. For me, Inconceivable. And I'm also going to say what you said for PokerStars. It's one tournament, okay? It is one of our 5Ks. They kept their top 8 spot, but realistically, they now know that there's going to be competition going to try and face against them. They are now in a position where, like, oh, we need to work on this. We need to go back to the drawing board. We need to practice. It will be a wake-up call, I feel, but I don't want to count Cloud9 out. I'm not going to say that Inconceivable are just going to bounce back and suddenly they'll be on top again. Cloud9 have proven to not just be able to beat these squads, but convincingly beat them as well. For me, I want to see Inconceivable wake up, realize, actually, right, we've got this next tournament, we've got the next 5K, then it's a big deal. And to be honest, they can place top 2 in all these tournaments, but if they come out in that 10K in the last championship, then they're the winners, basically. And that's what I want to see Inconceivable do. Cloud9, obviously, they've been working really, really hard at this, and all it is now, though, is that they got the VIDs, Inconceivable. They know what Cloud9 did. They know what they did wrong, and that's what they need to work on. These players are some of the best Halo 5 players, both all these 8 players we talk about. But Inconceivable, they can definitely do it, and this will be the wake-up call they need, really, I think, Tony.
I would love to agree with you, Sketch, but then we'd both be wrong. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm questioning Inconceivable, to be completely honest with you. But going into the 10K that they won, but I mean, which mind you, winning the 10K, fantastic. The previous 2 5Ks, they didn't even make the finals. So I'm not thinking at this tournament being, oh, this was just one tournament that they lost. Like, no, I'm thinking that 10K, that was just one tournament that they won. Maybe they just got hot at the right time. Their track record is missing finals, winning, and then losing 2 best of series where you only won one game. That to me is not good. But you know what? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. And I know a lot of guys in the chat, you're probably like, hey, you talked about Inconceivable, you talked about Cloud9. Like, wait, what about the one of the greatest Halo teams of all time, Sentinels? Well, in 3rd place came fan favorite Sentinels, taking Cloud9 all the way to a game 5 and just narrowly missing out on advancing into your losers bracket finals. Let me tell you, a couple of things go their way, and we might be talking about a different guy. The boys in red may have been earning that fat check in 1st place. They really took Cloud9 down to the distance, and just 1 or 2 mistakes, I'm telling you, they almost beat them. They really did. Rounding out your top 4 was KCP, Kansas City Pioneers, taking Inconceivable all the way to game 5, but not able to put the nail in the coffin during the winner bracket. Sadly, they also fell to Cloud9 in the lower bracket, which ended their tournament run. They better watch out, because honestly, Flyers and Ambush, they're looking hot, and they look like they're hungry to make that top 4. So let me tell you, there's only, when I think of Cloud9, Inconceivable, Sentinels, and then KCP, if Ambush and Flyers are going to knock anybody out of that top 4, to be honest, I think they have KCP in their sights. Sketch, I'm going to pass that over to you one more time. Like, how do you feel about KCP and Sentinels, where they placed, and how confident are you about them going into the next 5K?
So I'm gonna speak about them as well as speaking about Inconceivable in this moment as well. I think for a team which has won the 10K, we can never just count them out. That's where everybody wants to play their best, in that 10K. They're hot, and it doesn't matter if they played an amazing tournament. I remember 2009 BTH, Believe the Hype, winning out nationals as well. Doesn't matter if that's a one tournament win. That they have proved that they can do it at that moment. And again, Inconceivable made the finals as well. I mean, and they lost. They made it through winners, which is easier, but they still made and won against everybody ahead of them. KCP, Kansas City Pioneers, I do worry for, especially with Ambush. Obviously, we talked about Ambush last week, being this. Being coming through the Open, we knew that they were going to compete probably at this top 8 level. You even said, I think, Tony, top 6, and they placed in that position as well. And they are growing as a team.
Spoiler alert!
I mean, we don't know where they placed yet because Tony hasn't revealed the HCS hidden placements, which he's holding behind closed doors. I think for me, Ambush and Flyers both focusing on KCP. They're not focusing on Sentinels. They're not focusing on Inconceivable. They're not focusing on Cloud9. I think it's a weird one because everybody, even now I'm talking about it, I still think Sentinels are the best team, even though they haven't actually won any of the last few tournaments in terms of like this season and the 10K as well. But you always think, well, they're always got to win in them. So for me, those three are locked. And Sentinels, they just have to be Sentinels to have a chance. You know, they're never not going to have a chance. Whereas KCP, if that's where those three are, KCP's here, and Flyers and Ambush are slowly moving up. KCP might be moving, but it depends on what their ambition is as well. I don't want to count them out. I think they're there for a reason, and they have been performing at that top 4 level. But for me, I think Flyers and Ambush have something to strive for. KCP are sort of stuck in that limbo position. I don't think they're going to be a top 3 team. So they're trying to push for it, but it's out of reach. Whereas these other two teams, Flyers and Ambush, are just clawing them down as well. I don't know if you know about the scrims or not. I'd really like to see if Ambush and Flyers are playing KCP. That's where we'll find out about it. And I'm sure you know a lot more than I do, Tony, about the individual sort of like workings of the squads. But for me, I look at Ambush in particular, and some of those players won a tournament last year in Mantra Gaming, and it was Halo Reach, wasn't Halo 5, but it shows that they can go that distance, whereas KCP haven't won any major tournament like that, to my knowledge. I'm sure that could be corrected if they have. But so yeah, for me, I think KCP are there, but in my eyes, I think Ambush and Flyers are just slowly creeping up. But will they get there in time for the 10K? That's a big question, which I have.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, KCP they're very young. They're at their average age between all 4 of the players is 21. That's the average, with the oldest being, I think, Taulik at 22 and Druk at 22. Like, they're very young players. I will say though, in their short time in their careers, they have gotten, top 6 finishes along the way. So, even though they're young, they're almost starting to slowly become veterans, especially with the way they play and playing so efficient. So I like KCP and the boys. They also did win the first 5K tournament, so I think there's credence behind that. But a lot of people say the first tournament, that's where things are a little wacky. And not a lot of these teams are consistently playing Halo during the off season. So when the season first came on, we knew KCP was, and nobody else really was grinding like that. So it's tough. We're gonna see what KCP can do going forward. But I'm sorry, do you want to say something, Sketch? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. I mean, obviously, we're bigging up KCP, but as you said, they are young players. But my question for you, Tony, is: do you think they can beat the top 3? Do you realistically see them going into a series against Sentinels, against Inconceivable, against Cloud9, and winning consistently against them? That's my question to you.
I think because games are always a best of 5, I'm going to say yes. The reason being is that KCP is the most efficient CTF team. They're the best CTF team in the league. They're so daggone efficient. They're those sneaky flanking grabs. It works on even the pro teams. They're also very good at strongholds. So in a best of 5 series, their one weakness is Slayer. If you can 3-1 a team, you don't have to play Slayer more than once. You only play Slayer game 2. If you don't make it to game 5, you never have to see Slayer again. So I think maybe against a team like Cloud9, who is a very, very good Slayer team, maybe if you catch them on the wrong game types in game 1 and game 3, going into game 4, ride that momentum, 3-1. You just beat Cloud9. They've done it already. Same thing with Sentinels. Sentinels also happens to be a little bit weak on Slayer. So maybe Sentinels beats you on CTF. You steal game 2 on them in Slayer, and then Strongholds, you out rotate them and put them on a circus, keep rotating around where they're never able to slay you out. And at that point now, so I'm gonna say yes, but not so much for their raw skill, but really more for just how these series go with having 3 objectives before hitting that second Slayer, which happens to be, in my opinion, their weak point.
Sweet. Awesome. I mean, that was I wanted just to see, Tony, your pure passion for KCP, for the youngsters, for sure. I mean, obviously, I think for me, the NA side of things is just, I really enjoy watching it because there is those old players. Did you know I've coached Druck at a tournament? Do you know that?
No, I did not.
I've coached Druck. I came in as a last minute coach for Polaris Gaming in one of our last international tournaments, and maybe even be the last international Halo 5 tournament in the EU. And Druck was on it with Shabby Dagger, Hollers, and Slumpy. That was a squad. And some dubious things happened there, which I won't go into on stream. But I mean, it was So I've definitely seen. That's for another time. It's for another time, Matt. So I've definitely seen these players, and I've seen Druck's talent just right there and then. And even then, I'd say he wasn't necessarily the Halo 5 player then, but he is now. He was more of an FFA player. He'd go out and absolutely stomp an FFA. I think he won the FFA in that tournament as well. So yeah, if KCP do come out and they get as gassed as you're gassing them right now, Tony, and they do end up getting some grand finals and winning, I'll claim my bit of fame from coaching Druck that one time. I probably spoke to him saying, "Hi, I'm Sketch," before we started, and we started playing. So I was big influence, really. Anyway, I'll jump back to you, Tony, if there's any more closing stuff from the NA side.
Yeah. And I'm going to close it out because obviously, it's really the top 4 that we all care about, let's be honest. But joining them in the top 6 is going to be Flyers and Ambush, 2 teams that are hungry and that really they're right there making it to the top 4. They're right there. Top 6 is good. And I will say, though, I almost want to say Flyers has the advantage over Ambush because I feel like they're more consistent. But, man, when Ambush gets hot, man, their ceiling is absolutely insane. It's incredible. It really is. Only time will tell as far as the next 5K. And then rounding out your top 8, you also had Falling Esports and Team Force. So these are going to be your 8 teams that are guaranteed to make it to the 5K. We have no idea who's going to be joining them until this Saturday. We have another open tournament to determine that 9 through 16 team. Overall, it was an amazing tournament. A lot of game 5s, a lot of game 5s, which was exciting on the broadcast desk. And I hope the competition continues to get tougher because there is only one more 5K before the championship. Back to you, Matt.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So while we still have you, because we've gone through some of the North American side, would you be able to just kind of brief us quickly on what happened in Latin America, just before we kind of go back to Joe, just before we go into the ANZ region? Do you think you could go through that quickly for us?
Yeah, no surprise. Your top 3, Team PK, Atso, Drift, Pelu, and Tapping Buttons, won 15-1 was the map count. Then in second place was Fire and Ice, Bullet, Magical, Shadow, and Sepstars. That was first and second place, which is always doable. And then even Carnage, I think Carnage got 4th place last week, but this time they got 3rd with Johan, Guardian Vlies, Gambino, and Running JM. And Ivani also joining their top 4 is going to be Storm, which is Lure, Laylox, Strikey, and Vorizi.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So we are going to cover a bit of Australia and New Zealand. Now, at the moment, last week they didn't have a tournament. So, Joe, what's going to happen next week? Are we going to see a normal open, or is this kind of the last one of the season for ANZ?
So we're going to see Titans win. That's the first one we're going to see. We talked about Titans last week. If you didn't catch a podcast last time, so ANZ, they go bi-weekly with their Halo tournaments.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get Hydrizny involved when that concludes next Wednesday, and have his insightful knowledge on the ANZ region, and we'll talk about when Titan win as well. So what's happening for the ANZ this time is it's their qualifier for this Saturday, 27th of March. It's the ANZ qualifier for their Pro Series Championship. So we'd like to see their top teams all come out guns blazing, try and take it to Titans, and most likely fall at the wayside. A match at ANZ update.
Cool. So if you want to catch any of that action that's going to happen for you European people, it's going to be start about 2-3 a.m. for us. So if you're awake at that time, tune in to twitch.tv, have a look on Halo 5 Guardians, and you'll be able to see them all there. Barcode usually streams, I believe, I've forgotten the other chap's name, sorry. But there are various other individuals in the ANZ region that will be streaming that competition. So we've kind of gone through all the results. Let's kind of go into what's kind of happening in the future. So if you missed it on Monday, Europa Halo announced that they will be partnering with EGL for the Halo 5 Guardians Spring Series. So it's starting in April. It's going to be 2v2s up first, and then in May we'll have 4v4s. In the dates for these tournaments are on Sundays, so we have the 11th of April, the 18th of April, the 25th of April, and then we have the championships that will happen on the 2nd of May. Now, these are based on actual points, so the accumulation of all 3 open tournaments will qualify you into that championship, and then basically we'll have a 2v2 European champion. Now, going into the 4v4s themselves, exact same format, nothing changed. 3 opens, 1 championship. First one is on the 9th of May to the 16th of May, 23rd, and then also on the 30th of May. If you want any further details on the actual tournament and the schedule itself, EGL will be putting up some details up later this week, hopefully near the end. So all the details, and you'll be able to register. Now, if you want to find some teams, or you're looking for a free agent, have a look on the Europa Halo Discord. That will provide you all the details that you'll need to find some players that you'll be able to compete with. Now, we do have the actual announcement itself, so we'll just roll that now. We'll go into it, and then we'll get some comments from the actual panel here, but we'll be back with you in a few moments.
European Halo, we are back. Europa Halo has teamed up with EGL to create the Spring Series over the next 2 months. A prize pool of £850 is up for grabs over 8 tournaments across the 2s and 4s format. Up first is a 2v2 series, the spiritual successor to the Europa Double Series. Yes, we're bringing back all the maps and settings which were created by you, our community. It all kicks off from April 11th with 3 open cups, each having some coin to play for. At the end of the season, 8 teams based on their seeding will be invited to the season finale, where 1 pair will be crowned champions of European Halo. Not to worry, we'll be paying out for top 3, so those pesky French don't take all the prize pool. Once the 2s has ran its course, it's down to the bread and butter of Halo. 4v4, fast-paced action, starting from May 9th. Can anyone catch Cartel, who seem to have just steamrolled their way through European Halo with eyes for bigger things come infinite? The EGL Europa 4v4 Spring Series will follow the same format as the 2v2, with 3 open cups, followed by the season finale on May 30th. This is the largest series of cups Europa Halo has been involved in, and we're excited to bring some of the action in partnership with EGL. Sign up should go live soon, so make sure to follow Europa Halo and EGL for the moment they go live. Asterix, end with something quippy. Asterix.
Thank you very much, Jersey. And so we're just going to get some opinions of kind of what the initial thoughts are. So Joe, first off, you as someone from in the European community, what are your thoughts to EGL, Europa Halo now teaming up for the spring series?
I mean, I actually love EGL as an organization. I watch the Gears of War stuff. They had a just recent split series up to 10 weeks, and their championship was last weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So it's really, really cool. And EGL as well, they've been in Halo before. They were back in H2A. They had Battle for Europe. And they also had Halo Reach tournaments back in the day. So working with them, it's just opened up so much more possibilities. And also having the 2v2 back, Matt. The 2v2's back. So I think I casted some of the 2v2s back in the day. That was where Tommy McCrogan came up, you know? So back in the day, it showcases a lot more talent, and it also allows other players who might not have a 4v4 squad to play in the 2v2 to get just one of their partners, their deadly duo. I'm sure we'll see Mr. and Precisionite in there, maybe Legends and Seeker, or Legends and Shady, or whoever they like form. The French lot will be out there for sure. And 2v2 just adds a bit of an adrenaline, a bit of hype to everything we do. It's a bit more quick paced in it, and with that, it also shows some players who aren't necessarily well known in the 4v4, but have that individual talent, and it showcases them. But I'm so happy for that. But also the 4v4s as well. And we're keeping the ball rolling. We go from Pro Series to the EGL stuff as well, which is awesome to see. And I mean, what it means for the European community is you've got another fantastic org in the scene, but also you have another stream of tournaments coming through as well. So for me, both those two things combined, having EGL, having more tournaments, will just completely be bliss for the EU side of everything. You know, who doesn't like more tournaments? Who doesn't like seeing these high intensity 2v2s? The bragging rights which come with that side of things, and almost as a change of pace as well, because you know the question this time is which 2v2 team in Cartel will win? Will it be Legends and Seeker, or will it be Shady and Jimbo? You know, it's or whoever it is in between all of those. So that's always awesome as well. And yeah, I mean, EGL is quality. What else can I say?
We've not particularly seen much kind of interaction from them since, say, like the Battle of Europe, and that was during Halo 2 anniversary. There's been the odd cup, sure, but nothing kind of this scale, and kind of the commitment that they've actually shown as well to kind of the European scene in general, with the fact that they're teaming up with a grassroots partner with HCS, shows that they are ready to commit to a much more broader side, and especially as well when these tournaments won't be specifically using the HCS settings, which is a big point I just wanted to make out. These are community game types. Well, I say community game types. We're not going to see Griffball, but what I mean is there's specific tuning. So if there's a little nick or something that a few people are annoyed with, let us know. We can then feed that back, and we could maybe even implement it or even improve the map. But that's the best thing, that we're taking what we've got already, and it's just being improved. So again, it's brilliant. Again, like you say, another stream of tournament play, more content. You'll be seeing a lot more content from us as well. Now we have focused a lot kind of in your opinion. So kind of Tony, from kind of the North American side, sadly you guys are not going to be able to compete, so we can actually win something. What are your what are your kind of thoughts to it? What are your thoughts to basically more competitions? Would that mean kind of more higher skill? What are your initial thoughts? I understand you're not going to be very close to this kind of how can I word it? Sorry, to this region, but it's still an opinion is an opinion at the end of the day. So let us know.
You know, I really wanted to play devil's advocate on this in some way, shape, or form, but I couldn't find a singular way that this is going to be negative in any way, shape, or form. You're talking about another big player in the tournament organization community joining Halo. That's always going to be great. You're talking about, you know, the community having feedback. You know, I say it all the time. You know, in my perfect world, when it comes to Halo, it needs to be The players need to agree with it, and the viewers need to agree with it. That's all I care about. The viewers and the players are loving it. I'm bad about it. Simple as that. And then starting off with 2v2s going into 4v4s, I think is genius. Because you're gonna see a lot of the normal 2v2 names, like you said, Legends, Shady. I expect to see Jimbo. I want to see Bash. I want to see these 2v2 guys come up. But there's a lot of players out there that are on the cusp of doing something really great in these tournaments, but maybe they only have a team of one, or even maybe a team, a team of two, or maybe even a team of three, but they don't have 4 players to play with consistently. This allows an opportunity for hey, me and Sketch, we're 2v2 gods, and we're gonna go into this tournament. We're gonna get maybe say we get 12th place or something. Well, now us in the 13th place team, maybe we can make a 4s team and go into the 4v4s open tournaments together, because this is just another form of networking with other duos to create the best teams possible. And we would have got first place, but Sketch is terrible at the game, and I can't carry him past top 12. As simple as that. But we joined.
It's the NA connection, I'm having to play all the way over in NA. My 150 ping. Tony's hiding in the corner, and he said, "Sketch, why'd you keep dying?" I'm spawning bottom middle, and he's just crouching there with a plasma pistol in the lift in Plaza. What else can I do?
It's not camping, it's defending. No. But no, I love the idea of starting off with the 2v2s. Like I said, I think it's another way to network with other players that also might be as close to your skill level, and maybe have you team with them. Like, hey, I've seen these guys in matchmaking before. They've given me some trouble, but I never had anything to reach out to them and start that conversation. But now, hey, hey, we got a match, let's match up. One of them beats, but now we have that open line of communication. I'm one of those people where I'm not, I can talk a lot, but I'm not that good at networking. This for me would be a good way for me to show off my skill and get on a really good team.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And that's a very good point. So if you are looking for additional players, again, remember, we do have a Discord. If you look on our Twitter profile, you'll see in the actual description there's a link there that will go through kind of everything from finding another player, or just basically just like Tony said, networking. It's an important thing. If you want to progress yourself in a professional capacity, you're going to need to eventually. So we're at the end of the warm down. Just wanted to summarize again. We have across all regions qualifiers for the Pro Championships. So that's across on Europe, at ANZ region, North America, and also LATAM. And then from there, we'll have an update on the ANZ side next week. But for now, thank you very much for joining us. And just to say again, EGL, Europa Halo, go to egl.tv for more information. So again, thank you from myself. I've been the Abramelin. I've been joined by Joe Sketch and Tony Why Not Be Reckless. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great evening, morning, or afternoon, and we'll see you in a bit.